Welcome to my lovely IHP community and the 5D Collective. Today we started with a number of episodes, and you can tune into some previous ones if you want, but we're going to continue with our lovely theme of navigating love. The 5D Collective of mystics and spiritual mindfully living loving people navigate love because we navigate the depths of our mental, emotional, and physical planes wholeheartedly. So in case you didn't tune in to any of our shorts or shorter versions of the episodes, let me share with you what I got to share. There are plenty of people who half-ass their way through life in business and relationships. They are famous, rich, successful, and contribute to the whole of humanity and our continuous evolution and expansion of consciousness. The common denominator with the half-assed collective is that they're not committed to being themselves or having emotional depth or maturity. In fact, side note, as Raymond Rodriguez points out, before you can repair with another, you need to be able to repair with yourself. And so these people don't internally repair, and they don't go to people like Patrick Tahan or Terry to become actual people, meaning their wholehearted openness self. Okay, so not good or bad, but it is a choice to become your whole self and to become the one that you know is mentally, emotionally, and physically mature and able to be your perfect counterpart. And so this is the heart that is open. Okay, and with that, these individuals disregard self-awareness, accountability, and mastery of the depths of their mental, emotion, physical planes. You'll notice the common denominator because they continue to tell you that the good therapists are bad, that everything that is compassion is bad, and so they don't want wholeness, integration, or regulation in ventral vagal state, and actually they just don't believe in it. What you'll notice is that they are unmotivated by practices that create resiliency and restorative embodiment, self-aware, accountable, and regulating life, unless you dress it up. So if you dress it up with a story that is shiny, like your hiney, anybody remember Moana with the crab? Shiny. Okay, so that type of shiny. Then you can watch them flock to it, to the cauldron of poor unfortunate souls, so sad, but true. Ursula, anybody from The Little Mermaid? I have 5D mystic functional adult stories, the new ones for relationships, and that's because we heal trauma seriously by bringing forth your humanity, my humanity, and it's called self-agents. We know how to repair ruptures inside of us because we have a open whole heart, not a hole in the heart, that we fill with food and booze and drugs that I don't even know. I don't do any drugs, but I know people want to tell me to do them, and I'm like, why would I do them? I'm a grown up. If you care about me, you wouldn't make me. No, you can't make me. You can tease me. So when I get teased by grown-ups about drugs, I'm like, yeah, I don't need that. But I understand you enjoy it, and so my mother taught me not to be a person who will tell you what to do with your life, and that's because she told me it's your life, not mine. I'll teach you moderation, the rest is yours. And then she continues to make sure I learned moderation because we're all creatures of habit. So that's the part of where dressing up a story is not what I do. I don't dress it up because also FOMO, fear of missing out, really? I mean, how immature are you? Is that what motivates you teenagers? When you meet adaptive child part people, they all motivate each other with the same visceral, which is why it's not actually interesting. I don't do vanity metrics. I do quality. Always wins over quantity. Always. Any successful entrepreneur will inform you of that. I love you, Gary Vee. He is the real deal. And when I saw him, as he has the patience that other people have shown me, to people who tell you things that you're just like, sure, whatever. I'm an empowered feminine, and I don't know what Gary Vee considers himself. If a masculine, we have feminine and masculine, that's why I'm my perfect counterpart, but everybody has what they know is their actual dominant energetic imprint. I'm an empowered feminine. I know who my masculines are, and empowered or not, that's the part of where an empowered feminine doesn't need a guide with her. It's not because I'm a woman. No. It's because I'm an empowered feminine. And so when I heard this rabbi who wants to equate feminine and masculine elements into genders, I'm like, yeah, that's for the codependent human beings who need Terry to become grown-ups, not for the ones of us who are actual grown-ups. Again, you can repair your own ruptures because you don't use unhealthy self-soothing, unhealthy self-worth, unhealthy anything, because your nervous system is in the forefront, your physiological state. And as I read to you today, what happens, thank you Stephen Porges, for those who don't take themselves seriously, if you try to deal with shame in a more traditional psychotherapeutic way, it's re-injuring it. So re-injuring the shame. It is also magnifying the shame because it is subdiaphragmatic. Stephen Porges. So for people who have a shame defectiveness button, it's not only EMDR, child parts work. It's also somatics and sensory motor. And as Pat Ogden points out, it's because the body did not metabolize the trauma, and also your first 3 years of life are implicit. So people who take themselves seriously, yes, death due parts, sickness and health, better for worse, the only way you can ever let me know you're a true lover and not a siren, because really anybody in a modulated embodiment is a siren. I have my sirens, my vices. It's not in my modulated embodiment because I'm a mindfulness practitioner with mindset skills, and I have also that which is called the inner growth mindset, but introception. No, I know how and when everything is moving around, and I love to get practice to use stress and dharma. So we do dharma 5D collective, not karma. Karma people will be fine. They, again, right now I'm talking to you about them. So Stephen Porges, the body, your physiological state. You're not the thoughts, but as Lisa points out, the thoughts also matter. But you're learning to get out of being a drug addict of your drama and a drug addict on a high with it ain't how hard you hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. So visuals of you struggling, you battling when you don't need to be in sympathetic. This is the part. You don't need to use that modulated, dysregulated embodiment, and that's distress. But furthermore, again, the trauma charges are stored in muscles, bones, and tissues. So long story short, people who disregard themselves, they don't know how to really take care of their herd because they don't know how to take care of their own self, and they don't care to. So half-assed people are very fascinating, to say the least. But I like to make fun of them because, they make fun of us. Pat Ogden, trauma impacts the body so strongly, and the responses that the body has are often not metabolized. So people get stuck in trauma time. They cannot move on from it until those responses are metabolized. And she uses, in one of my classes, I'll use the example because she has a man who basically just asked what eventually became his future wife to marry him, but then he ran off, and all of a sudden he's completely not wanting this thing, but he knows what his body is doing is not what his heart wants, and so he's confused. No, he immediately went and addressed it and somehow got the Pat Ogden. And so they played out certain scenarios with movements, and because you have sensations, images, behaviors, affects, meanings. This is the part of why the sciences give you the psychoeducation, which allows people who care about doing life wholeheartedly will want, because you are now integrating core narrative relational soul self. Thank you, Dr. Daniel Siegel. Without integrating your child parts, without integrating your humanity, you don't actually take ownership of this. That's why we got a bunch of people who don't, because I see them, they give themselves analyses and all of it. I don't analyze, Maria. I don't need therapy. I have the capacity to be self-led and tell you every single one of my charge. I won't. My point is, and you don't prove this, but I can tell you what gives it away. I wake up in the morning happy. I'm energized. I take care of my health. I make sure that I can walk and talk and be there, and I make sure to try and keep the minimal physical activity so that my body can function as I get older. Because how am I going to help my mother get up off the floor? For example, I'm 4'9", if she ever were to fall and I'm all by myself. And maybe I won't be able to succeed. But my point is, when people are short-sighted, they don't think, as I get older, am I going to be able to actually truly love the people around me, which means be of help and of support? Or am I performing? Because when people feel performing or worry, and here's why, again, mindfulness practices support people that are ready for self-help. So that means your heart is open to being objective, and that objective means I subjectively can be aware that I'm the one that is for me and for my family. But in the absence of feeling weighed down, Atlantis, you don't need to carry the whole globe. That's a bullshit statement, again, and a bullshit visual, because that's the whole point. Nobody is on an island by themselves. And when you hear somebody thinking that they did it all by themselves and that they are going to make sure nobody ever fucks with them again, you got a teenager in a room. You got a Rambo, but it ain't a Rambo that is inspiring you from the heart, open-heartedly. That quote, it's not how hard you can hit. I can tell it to you when I'm a teenager. I can tell it to you when I'm a young adult. I can tell it to you today. Today is way better than in any of that bullshit biochemistry. In fact, a fear from down here that is really, when I get frustrated personally, it's very little compared to my little butthole as a child. So mastering anger, it's amazing. Mastering fear, amazing again. The panic attacks, the worst part of ascending, for me at least. Others have other stories, but the part about sadness, that's not something sad. Zen master, wow, you don't know how to do a good cry. You have a stuck key. You need a therapist, but you don't want one. You just like to tell people they can't be enlightened. You can't be enlightened, not the other way around. So you want to call bullshitter people who are enlightening, I think, and enlightened. You don't know what you're talking about. But then again, maybe it's because that life that you're living is suffering. So temporal junction use, again, not fascinating, but the half-assed people will make it into their mission to dress it up, FOMO, fear of missing out, and they are not authentic. So as I was trying to get to some stories, I forget which ones, we'll leave the stories alone, let me continue to read to you. And so when you dress it up and you make it shiny, they flock to cauldrons, and then they make it sound like they know a shortcut to something, and they can't get a shortcut to your healing. Integration takes time because the story of Pat Ogden. Let me finish it. So as he's doing whatever practices they do together, all of a sudden he has a flashback in a moment of time of his age, wherever it was, where he decided he would not be depending on another. So he got to see as his family, parents, and maybe siblings were in a dynamic of where it seemed that marriage would mean that I depend, and it was I don't want that. So this is what came forth by freeing that up, because the image came up, the emotion came up, the psychoeducation is being discussed with a therapist. The person's actually in a room becoming their own observer. Once you've gotten this down, this is why self-help, personal development, and spiritual development is for that. It's not I'm a dad, it's yes, it's at the but then it's yes, I can, I want to. Why? Because you stress is way better, and plus you find out why allow that which is your memory, implicit, explicit, and your imagination actually be what tells you how to be in one of three states. Again, you can consistently navigate it as a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person, creating resiliency. That's the point. The more you do it, the more succulent the oxytocin gene hormone is. But you need to want that. And again, I begin life with a whole 3-year-old heart. So I don't know shame, defectiveness, suffering. I do not know it. I want you to understand this, because as a self-agent, my number one priority is keeping Maria physically safe. The fear, that's it. My number 2 priority, it's self-agency. And my number 3 bonding, it's that I'll tell you what I want. And the minute that I'll tell you, if you don't hear me, it's fine, because I got a facade friend. I learned what cowards do. They do the same things, and I don't want to waste my time. And even that goes through a process of expansion, because once again, we all have personality patterns and or types, however they are called, with temperament and attachment. I've maintained secure attachment. I'm a self-agent, and so I repair within me, and I walk like an Egyptian because I unconsciously love myself with flaws and imperfections, and I don't have shame. So anyone who's ever tried in a million years, I'm not a million, I'm 45, they will not be able to make me look down, because I won't look down and I won't look up. I'll look straight at you. And in fact, some people say that's intimidating, and I say not for a confident person. It's not. If you're not confident, I mean, hey, do I need to look down because you don't know how? I look away when I notice someone compartmentalizing, because I got taught by the attachment trauma educators what is actively happening, and I feel sad for the people. But I know also I don't need to feel sad or mean, because it's not actually my responsibility to notice that they have attachment wounds, flares, or anything like that. It's to their actual self if they wanted it. So, there's no Lucifer, by the way. There's only people either half-asseding life or doing it wholeheartedly. And half-assed, they're really funny. So you make it sound appealing and like you've done it all by yourself, women or men, days, and watch them flock. But that's the part. They're not really doing it from an open heart. And 4D, 3D, though, we need all of our brothers and sisters, and they have been around before 5D came in, and so it's not something that will continue. We'll continue with stories, but we will all know in time our opportunity to be in Dharma and not karma, because sciences have caught up with spirituality, and they prove that which those of us who come with God, Jesus, Holy Spirit, already knew. My foundation is Christian Catholic. If you read the chapter I wrote in the book The Ways to God, I'm a co-author amongst another 8 spiritual authors. It will be published on June 28th. If you want to pre-order the ebook, that's available, or if you want hardcover and or paper cover, that's on the day that it's published. Audiobook will be released later on, and I title my chapter, God is Discerning a Quantum's Love. So we don't move away from our religious faith and religious anything. Spirituality people bring it all in, but we're also not spiritual bypassers. And we're not savior complex people, because, again, there's only one God, one source, one infinity, and we don't embody it. We actually can be a channeler, a messenger, a guide. As a person, I'm still here. I put myself to the side, but I'm still here. And a person who's a self-agent and spiritual, mindful, or mystic, they will know that too. So the 5D collective is very specific. As a group, we are securely attached, non-traumatized people who are self-agents. So you're ready for personal development, spiritual development, and self-help, and you are actually already aware that we're all grounded in reality, because any of our cherishable beliefs could be falsifiable, and that God is for those of us who believe in God and divinity and source and Akash and Anima Mundi, and then sciences have a way to explain it and consciousness, but they continue. As a person who's woo-woo pseudoscience and a faith, what makes me laugh, they humble me, the scientists, because I already know the equation to life. It's not hard. Do you want to be kind and love, or do you want to be unkind and fearful? Fearful may make it look like you're badass, but I'll know you're pretending, because we're all the same angels. Just some of us didn't get lucky when we first started life. Others of us did. And the ones of us who did are the ones who say, hey, brother and sister, you're loved like I am. And guess what happens when people don't want to anchor in their ventral energy? Yeah, we'll get to that one at some other point. But I can thank my Shiva, because I knew that my Shiva was going to allow my Kali and my Krishna Lila, basically the empowered feminine, knows her own empowered masculine, and then knows all of how my oversoul in its entirety, all by myself, don't want to be, we won't be thinking of any of our oversoul as members of our herd that would in any way, shape, or form not bring ourselves to the exact place our soul, our heart, was wanting to be in the first place. And that is something that I will also leave as life is a mystery. Not because why not? Okay, so making restorative embodiment, lifestyle, mindset, and mindfulness practices sound like they give you and your life some special meaning, or give them, meaning the people who follow these people, a superhero, villain, or an out group scenario, and then watch them be all over it and get motivated. So when people are not serious about themselves, they will only be motivated with dress up, magical baton, okay, and I embody greatness, stuff like that. The type of motivation is visceral, from the gut, not the heart or intelligent mind. And so even when they're doing mindfulness practices and leading a life with these trending, because that's the other part, trending lifestyle and mindset choices, they're half-assing it and their way through life. And so as long as they look good, though, that's all they care about. And on the external, they look good. And they look good on paper. They got all these certificates. They're cultured. Immunity isn't enough to be saluted as a published poet. They look good on screen. And that they are looking really great on screen with the trends of the day, call to actions to get those clickbaits and all that other stuff. I'm an online marketer, that I mentioned that. So everyone can look the same, but authentic people will be noticed by those of us who are of the frequency, because energy is navigating from one of three places, but really it's going to be one of two, even though I guess it could be two or three. But my point is, the restored embodiment is where we'll catch each other, because that's the health and the infinite higher human conscious potential experiencing people. And if Robert Sapolsky is right with determined, then, dysregulated and modulated are going to hang out with each other. And they are the ones who don't go to Patrick Chan or Terry Real, so they won't want to be around anchored in Ventral energy, by the way, because they only want drama, in and out behavior, visceral. They're busy trying to make their life living hell, because that's what the beginning, their first 8 years was. So they're codependent with Diego's family, and again, they disregard what mental, emotional, and physical health are completely. And they think of mindfulness practices as patching it up, yoga bringing demons out of you. Don't believe in neuroscientists, let alone do they actually understand how sensory motor and somatics work, and that you can't do it by yourself. So again, people who don't go, for example, the doomsdayer, the doer, are we good, the ghost, and the please appease don't go to Patrick Chan. Their childhood trauma type personality is going to be something visible, as is their eating, drinking, and their inner outer critic, their worries, their weighed down shoulders. It's a sad story, but again, they will do this. Every person's life will make sense to them. As Terry points out, nobody's nonsensical to themselves. So they make up, the left mode likes to make up shit, and the right mode is nowhere to be found, because they completely suppress it with those maladaptive drinking, drugging, fucking, inner outer critic, binge watching, binge this, binge that, continuing their shared fantasy of whatever it is they're wasting time on, in the same frequency that their body is consistently looking forward to being in, because they are simply reinforcing that. So the re-injuring of shame is you re-traumatizing yourself, because that's the only way you feel alive, as Bessel van der Kolk points out, which is why the fancy lady in her suit, when she says, I'll dismantle all the modern day therapists because they're trying to imprison you. All the people who go to that woman and the man who says a lot of shit, they go there because they don't want to get their emotional body online. Like Patrick Chan says, we have a lot of cowards out there. They don't go and get their emotional body online. They talk a big talk with shiny objects and words that they think mesmerize. They mesmerize those half-asking, the asking pillow. They mesmerize the idiots and the ones who are bullshitters, but they definitely won't actually mesmerize any of those who are 5D. So again, they serve a purpose. Without the 4D and 3D collective, I would have no words for you about that, which is a lot of things. And so all of our brothers and sisters, they have the free will to choose where they want to head, and our lovely planet is Dharma, so they don't have to do karma. And again, it's not a good or bad word. It's they don't have to live their 0 to 8-year-old, how I'm going to say it, on a go, because they can learn how to become the self-agents they were meant to be in the first place, with the bonding and the certainty that we all will have with our 3 subcortical areas. Personality patterns, you continue to have them, your temperament and your attachment. Once you're securely attached and untraumatized like this, you have fun again with yes, integration of the brain. You have fun with yes, I get to do use stress. Let me see what other mindset practice I can put into practice today while I'm experiencing the new moon ascension energies. And that's why channelers, messengers, guides for the spiritual community, the ones who are cool with the woo-woo pseudoscience lady, come over because they have fun. And again, I am learning from smart experts. I'm not the expert. I'm not the researcher. And I'm definitely not the pseudo-intellectual, although I'm prepared to let you know that anyone who wants to make fun of this, I'm all of it. I mean, I can be the pseudo-intellectual, the bitch, the whore, the evil, Knievel, medieval, whatever. That's the lamest and most they can get to at all times. And they won't be coming to me. They'll be letting their people know about, watch for those. They show them pictures of us. It's amazing. That gives it away. The minute that you need to spotlight all the people that you've decided are really, really bad, wow, is that show and tell? You don't know how to be creative, I guess, huh? You don't know how to bring in information in a way that allows you, and some people say that's not, you don't want to confront. No, some of us know that there's only one God, and we're not martyr superiors or blamers. So the codependent human beings are the ones who think they can tell each other how to live life, how to do life. I got put in my place when I was a teenager. You don't listen to us and what we tell you to do. You're right, I got ego. Shit, I'm so sorry, I was such a hypocrite. And then you find out that people think you're a hypocrite because you like a lot of information and learn a lot of this and that. And I leave that one alone too. So fear, it doesn't win, but it does have a place in life and love, especially for those who half-ass their way through life and relationships. We get to instead be our true selves here at HP because we get to be mindful and flawed with integrity. And integrity means that you have the ability to bring out the best in you, and you also have the ability to allow yourself to know if the best in the other is love, they will match that ventral energy. And if it's not, it's okay, because you learn how to, isn't enough to be saluted, handle all people, because all they want is a hug. And in fact, this human being, they said, you didn't salute me. Then they got a hug out of me. By the end of the evening, though, they went too far and said, and we'll become friends because we frequent the same place. And my head was already like, no, we become friends, because we're not going to become friends. No, we won't become friends. Yes, we do frequent the same place. No, we won't be talking. Yes, I will see you, but that is all. See, you put up barriers. No, I don't. I'm just telling you how it is. Your body don't lie. So love is supporting each other to fly. Love lifts you up when you are down, and it soars the skies with you when you're up. Love is always there, and as Sadhguru points out, it is the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. We all can be leaders to someone, but again, there's leaders for lovers and there's leaders for fearful ones. So I bring together human, spiritual, and spirituality elements to explore you being yourself, to explore our lovely human evolution and expansion of consciousness, and to continue having a good time as we navigate love, mystic, spiritual, mindful, living and loving people, because we love to be in the depths of our mental, emotional, physical planes, our mind, body, heart, self, wholeheartedly, and in a state of eustress. This is thanks to us pursuing integration on purpose, because we can have bilateral, vertical, overall, okay? And putting into practice that which is a restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating lifestyle and mindset on purpose again. So exercises and ideas are what you look for, which is what makes a mentor something appealing, which is what makes a masterclass something appealing. Again, there's no shiny object and there's no shortcut. There's authenticity and real talk. Those who want quality are the masses of the 5D and the Dharma and the smart human beings. Those who want a shiny little object, I have never been fond of liars like my facade friend, and I'm not a hypocrite, but according to him I am, and I can be subjectively objective enough to know he has a definition. He explained it to me. I understand it. That's why I'm a functional child adult. And facade people are not fake people. They all just come to you when they need something. They all, simply put, don't know how to give to you because they don't know how to stay energized in the morning, because they're not an integrated brain or restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person. It's very easy when I meet teenagers. Their energy does not get, in any way, shape, or form, bigger. While with self-agency, and that's all of those of us who are securely attached, non-traumatized, again, mystic, spiritual, mindful, living, loving, channelers, messengers, guides, those who have this type of way, they will also let you know that you have the same ability to be intuitive, to be connected, to do Akashic record readings, you name it, but they also won't bullshit you. Okay, so we are in an emotional, mental, and physical state of aliveness. You're grounded in aliveness. So life and love are not performances. They don't weigh us down, and we don't think death is easier than being alive. We do not live pseudo-aliveness. We love to flow and grow and flourish. And so as an expanding self, when ascension energies come about, you are already tapped into the infinite higher human conscious potential experience of your day-to-day life and relationships. You'll notice, because change is about, and the self-agent welcomes it because it's presenting to you a challenge. It's really an opportunity to keep building and enhancing your own mental, emotional depth, mastery, and resiliency skills. You're getting to become more of the person you want to be. It's really fun. Again, you don't have conditions, because when you're working, even with pet peeves, it's, oh, this is my opportunity to become less of a 14-month-old of myself, because I'm not here to correct a person's actions. When their unhealthy self-soothing mechanisms are obvious, I get completely sloppy with my exercises because I'm still holding a grudge of those grown-ups who made me, in the only hour I had to not wear this back brace that I had to wear 24 hours a day. They made me do the exercises in physical ed, but it wasn't that. It was they used this sentence: we're going to make you do exercises all day long, no, every day, once a week, or whatever it was, so that you can create the habit. Because by creating the habit, we will ensure that you will live a healthy lifestyle. And I'm like, you don't just create a habit. I have this thing called Maria, and if I don't want the habit you're telling me, I ain't gonna do it. That's a spiteful teenager. This is one of the few things that to this day I know I have a grudge about. I don't need to process it, but I can be aware of it and I can know, okay, it's not good for you. So I try to maintain a balance, and that's where I do it with myself, hold myself accountable, and I also know my body will hold me accountable, because that's the part where life will not hit you on your knees if you're paying enough attention and you're common sense enough. And I also have a primary caregiver. She's still my primary caregiver until I'm old and she's around, and I hope she lives till 1,000 like me. And but my point is, that's what it means to love each other. It's not supporting any of bad habits. So life will consistently nudge you. The ones who didn't get nudging in a good way at the beginning are the ones who can watch us walk a walk and talk a talk. And then again, it will be as it always has been, just with Dharma, not karma. That's the message that was channeled through me for the 5D Collective at IHP. And so Dharma is when you're doing, I'm going to put it in human terms, self-agency, secure, attached, and untraumatized. You're at the very bare minimum a functional adult, like Terry points out, or an inner adult, like Patrick Tiahan would point out. And so your life and relationships, they don't weigh you down, they don't get old, they don't get boring, they don't get stagnating. You don't have to get rid of any kind of substance. I mean, I know I don't do drugs and have no interest, but some people enjoy it. So I mean, that's the part of where moderation. However, moderation in everything, drinking, not good for your liver, not good for your brain. So again, this is the part of where not needing to follow any of those extremists. I love my pasta, I love my bread, okay? And when you meet the smart sciences people, they're not extremists. That's the part. Holistic. I look forward to seeing more of the holistic sciences that give us health. I know in the meantime we have a bunch of extremists because they're all little groups, but I also know that they're all voices that if they're followed by millions, it's because those people believe in the story that they're selling them. Because otherwise you'd notice, okay, this is extreme, this is extreme, this is extreme. And while there are those who think internet made it worse, we already had this stuff. They used to just be like, 10, so it's not overwhelming. You just learn to discern because you're quantumist loving like God is to me. Thank you. And again, I can use science, determined, Robert Sapolsky, the ones who look into consciousness and intelligence and tell you that it's not God, it's not a divinity, it's dark matter, dark energy. I won't take offense. It's not offensive. I'm of faith. They're not. I'm of spirit. They don't believe in it. Doesn't mean they're not of spirit. If you're of spirit, you know that all of our brothers and sisters contribute. Love and fear. The fearful ones are the ones of science, not extreme, but again, they're the ones who don't believe in anything. But then watch as things take place. But I'm going to put that to the side. My point is that their technical verbiage allows them to detach completely, and that tells me a lot. But they are of spirit, and they are of source, and they are of that which is energy. If we want to bring in the spiritual community, all of our brothers and sisters have a place in the kingdom of God. They won't have the kingdom of God within them if they're in self-loathing, gut-wrenched, torn apart, because they will not be flowing and energized when they wake up in the morning. Like that avoidant who continues to suffer because she decided, I don't want to do mindfulness, meditation, journaling, this crappy shit that these therapists gave me to do. You're all making fun of us. I'm going to come here and spite myself. Again, I know, objectively speaking, where I'm sloppy. That's why I try sharing. We all have our sirens, but some of us have smaller sirens than others. And on that note, we grow the 5D Collective more loving and energized by being in flow state, integrated, and anchored in ventral energy. And so I bring you 5D Mystic Enlightenment, functional adult relationships, new stories to heal trauma together and bring forth your humanity. I already have mine here, our humanity. But yeah, fear has a place in the unfolding of life, self, human evolution, and consciousness. You can choose life, limited consciousness, and self in protection. When you choose fear, this is our Earth's 3D, 4D collective. They will be here. They're already here with riches. And I told teenage friends, evil doesn't win. They may look good on the outside. Today I can tell you, distress doesn't do the body any good. Modulated, dysregulated people aren't living the highlight. A person who has a doomsdayer, doer, a ghost, a are we good, a please appeaser type of childhood who needs Patrick Tian ain't doing good. anyone who's disregarding Terry Real ain't doing good with their partnership. Codependent people are annoying. I can be annoying, but that's because I sound like Miss Perfect when I'm not. I'm just sharing how you can get it done. The ones who don't want to do the mental, emotional, physical lifting don't like to hear it, because my ventral energy will allow every single little bit of whatever they have not yet welcomed of themselves to come up. And so they will throw it. You let people put a finger in your ear and say you're no good. Oh, it's not only that. Shame, defectiveness, blame, fault, revenge, Miss Perfect, Miss Know-It-All, or whatever it is. Again, I understand what my personality pattern is. That's why I can tell all of the angles that I go at. I mean, it's amazing once you know how you're run as a human. And so I can spot it. I can really spot it. Perfection, imperfection, the words that I use. And that's because I have another lovely book that I've been looking into alongside our lovely Stephen Porges, Bezel van der Kolk, Dr. Daniel Siegel. That's when PDP framework. So give me a minute. I want to share with you something. So here is where, okay, facade friend. He is leading a life that he is just fucking happy as can be. And this is to go back to when life hits you, okay? But in a way that it's trying to get you to awaken to yourself, to what life is meant to be for you. And that's the part of where it's not to hit you, to shame you. It's not to hit you, to make life hard. It's not any of that, which is what a teenager will want to use. So, for example, when you hear people, the system is trying to hold me down. I mean, there's a bunch of ways that adolescents come out of the woodwork and just keep on running. So my facade friend, and it's abandonment wound, rejection wound. So whenever you're not self-led, mostly self-led, if not wholly, so I'm all self-led, because by the time I'm a teenager, I'm self-led. Okay, so Maria knows what's good for her. I know the one. I'm choosing my teenage boyfriend because I know that he's the one that we have a good relationship. I'm doing great. My facade friend was a friend of mine already when I'm a teenager, okay? So, death do part, sickness and in health, better for worse, very straightforward. Again, a healthy, self-worth human being ain't got no time to waste. An empowered feminine, I know what I bring to the table. Do you know what you bring? Great, okay, we can keep moving forward. The cheating, no big deal, because, again, functional inner child adult, but also death do part, sickness and in health, better for worse. I really never understood insecurity. In fact, I was with compersion already before becoming polyamory. Okay, and when people want to chime in and they're not polyamorous, please remember, leave it alone, because we still consistently have so many human beings who half-ass life and they think they know it all. And that's the arrogant 16-year-old who, the minute you start speaking, it's simply put a waste of your fucking time. There are people who say, no, am I avoiding? You can call it avoiding. I'm okay with that. What I have noticed, thank you, facade friend, is that it doesn't matter. And Stephen Porges confirms it. Biologically, people have their ears down. Terry Real points out, there's all these smart human beings that have pointed out things that I consistently experience with a person who lacks self-awareness, accountability, and regulation in their ventral vagal state. And they justify their Cusco attitude. They're drinking, drugging, fucking inner, outer critic, the little fists and the little I can watch my back because the world is a dangerous place. They all have not what the experienced yogi have. Comfortableness in darkness. I'm comfortable in the awareness state of the unknown because I already know God. And I know the one thing that I cherish most of all. I get to spend 24 more hours with my mother, my sisters, my extended family, which are all the people. Maria, get to be here one more day. I might not be here tomorrow. This might be the last moment you see me. This might be the last moment. Maybe I won't even get the video out. Every day counts. That's the part. Okay, so it's something I dealt with as a kid. Marcus Aurelius, thank you. He helped me understand why worry about something you can't do anything about. So when you're a securely attached, non-traumatized person, you're self-led, you use that inner growth mindset. You have these mindset skills that Dr. Daniel Siegel is great at talking about. I'm all attachment trauma informed. Okay, so my facade friend, he's fast forward, teenage boyfriend, I break up. I'm cool with all of my relationships. I know every single one of them brought me exactly to where I was already headed because I know exactly everything about Maria. Yes, I do. You can't know your subconscious. I do actually, because I have self-awareness, accountability, and regulation skills, because I'm mindfully aware. And anybody who keeps chiming in, once again, I learned how to leave it alone. I got ego, you got ego. You just won't leave it alone. Differentiated self people won't argue, because there's nothing to argue. I have thoughts and feelings that I just described to you with words I chose. If you're imprisoned by words and you're beginning to make my wanting to chit chat something that I have to work at, I'm sorry, I don't work for love. And I don't actually have to get in any of my anger, sadness, fear, surprise, disgust, or happiness, because my body and my emotional state is consistently going to be simply curious, open, accepting, and loving, connected, open, aware, and loving of the two of us. And that you chimed in the third time and you're done. I'm done talking now. Now I'm just going to let you talk, because the 3-year-old wants the floor and the 16-year-old knows everything, and you're imprisoned by your own words and your own way of wanting to go down a path. Means you're not a mindful listener, you're not a subjectively, objectively aware person of yourself, you're not a functional adult at all. It's not a losing strategy. You're simply put an adaptive child who just made me aware that you're going to take me down your path. You already know the answer to whatever you're telling me, and I don't know where that is, so I'm going to let you lead me, and then I'm going to say thank you so much for your time and go. Those are people who have not healed, abandonment, rejection, and they get all, how dare you, or you're neutral, you have no opinion. Yes, I don't. Okay then. And so intelligence, it knows where to stop speaking so that we can allow the intellect to be told to us, and moving along. And so, yeah, you don't want to waste any time. And also, again, I don't know what you're going to say, so I'll learn from you. It'll be great, because now I know who you are, and I also know how I'm dressed up for you. So now I can maybe, I might not be able to meet your expectations, though. And that'll be something I'll tell you. No, we won't become friends. Yes, we do frequent the same place. No, I won't be talking to you. Yes, I will be seeing you. No, I won't interact with you. You put up barriers. No, I'm just telling you how it's going to go, because I decided that 3 years in a row. This I didn't add, but if you're new, 3 years, this human being, I didn't acknowledge, wasn't rude, on an evening where they're drunk, because apparently only when people are, they can speak to you what they think, what they feel, and however it is, but they were also in a mood. So moodiness and drunkenness allows people to tell you everything. Vulnerability comes forth when somebody's inhibited, and then they don't remember any of what they said in the first place. So really, you learn how to allow yourself to thank you, God, for the 24 hours I consciously chose to hang out with my brothers and sisters. None of them are Lucifer. They all have the same heart that I have. Mine is open and loving, and I'm learning patience by the minute, because I know I'm not you. And I won't correct anyone, because they're their own self-agents, and I bonded with them just fine, and I'm also physically safe. My facade friend, he gets the rug pulled under from him because of a lot of things. And as we get to become friends again, I tell him, you have an Achilles heel. And I also find out later on in life that he was a person who would use cocaine and alcohol in ways of just pretending life was continuing to move forward. So when he got finally really better and he didn't move into the highlight of himself, it was because he was afraid of being more different than the others. So he chose to say no to his intuitiveness and mysticism. And then I found out that he even doesn't believe in anything. So eventually he contradicted the very interaction we had a long time before, which is where, again, liar, liar, pants on fire. So what you want to understand is distorted self people, they don't have a relationship with themselves. And they actively don't remember what they will have said, nor their stories, nor their inconsistencies, because they aren't coherent. Securely attached, non-traumatized, self-led people, we are consistent, contingent communicators, which is why we don't change. And it's why we expand. After a 4-year relationship, as I'm being broken up with, I get told, I thought you would change. I said, excuse me, you're confusing me right now. I told you exactly these words. I won't change. Don't think I'm changing. I don't change for people. How did that come again? No, well, no, I don't know. Again, so the only way he was able to talk sense to me was because he knows exactly where I'm headed, what I'm doing, all of my passion. He said, okay, let's put it this way. If you do what you're saying you want to do, 10 years down the line, you give up all of this stuff that you're doing, your mission, your purpose, you're going to hate me, Maria. You're right. I am so thankful that you love me and you really know how I care about the world. So you're right. I will hate you. I know I will, because I would not be living the life I wanted to live, and I want to live. This is, I'm adding right now. Okay, so that's when you are your own self. You don't change your mind about things because you're a consistent, contingent communicator, first of all, here. So the subjective experience of a differentiated self who's a self-agent, whether you're mystic, spiritual, or just the mindful with the sciences, you're going to have a good time in life because you don't suffer it. That's because you don't have a hole here. You're 0-1-year-old. You're definitely doing good with that prefrontal. And when people need to be motivated by being given shiny objects or by being given superhero supervillains, that's when I got a Pinocchio in the room. That's when I got a Peter Pan who likes Wendy because he likes fables, because he got a bunch of lost boys. Why does Peter Pan go to the Lost Island, or whatever the island is called? Why does Peter Pan leave? Does anybody remember Hook? The parents start talking about what he's going to do, what he's not going to do, right? And he hears all of these decisions. He's only, what, a month old in the crib, 2 years, I don't know, but he's like, oh shit, and he goes away. I don't want to grow up, because then they're also fighting. Or anyways, so he leaves, and then when he comes back, he sees that they have another baby, and now he's been replaced, so he doesn't stay. He leaves again. So, you know, again, that's very fascinating, the stories that we see, even the updated ones, with all of these human beings who are expressing their adaptive child part. And one thing I forgot to mention, let me see if I have this, because the word was important for me. That's why I included it in our lovely, what I wrote out. If you go to the YouTube channel, you'll see it. As long as it looks good on paper and on screen with the trend of the day, the people who are driven by the half-assed life that a teenager will be, either grown-ups, but their teenage version. The adoptive child part, okay, they will think they are leaving something behind, one that is in their mind, because we all, again, will make sense, that is going to leave an impact. We all leave an impact. Obviously, some bigger, some smaller. I have a book, no, not a book. I have a cup and I have a shirt with all people are famous to some people. This great person, I forget their full name. They're on Facebook, and I met them through networking as a marketer, and amazing. So I was able to purchase the mug and the shirt, and it's true. All people are famous to some people. Like the Sadhguru quote of, it's the ability to bring out the best in others that makes you a leader. But what I consider leadership is allowing yourself to also accept, respect, and love unconditionally people who have the trauma charges in their muscles, bones, and tissues, who will not be living the highlight of their life. And so immunity isn't enough to be saluted. I chose to consistently not interact. I didn't want to be their friend, but I got plenty of other friends who are facades. This dude, I just didn't want to, and I don't. And the fact that women are too serious, am I for healthy boundaries? I don't think so. Men, did you say it right? I didn't talk to him at all. So anytime somebody has something to contest to a person who knows what their motivation, their reasoning, and really socializing, excuse me. Does anybody wonder why grown-ups are still sensitive like this? I'm just boggled, because I was a kid and learning that people thought, you're picky. No, I'm not. You're selective. Well, yeah. Do you hang out with all people? Did you not notice that you only hang out with people that you like? Do you like all people? Well, I do love, yes, all people, and like all people, but there's those I prefer. Do you want to know who they are? Because they don't have time for me, because they're busy actually making a huge impact, and it's okay. And no, they don't live in spirit in the sky. I have a direct relationship with everything that's in the sky. And so that's one thing. And a relationship is different. I actually do enjoy, which is having a good time with my brothers and sisters. I love intelligence, and intelligence equals emotional, mental, and physical maturity and moderation in all things, and actually caring about the health of our lovely planet and leaving the earth with good examples for children who will grow up, and also trying to get our earth fixed. Seeing a bunch of people be happy. I love that they were so happy for the soccer game. The Naples, they won, the Italians. And I thought, though, in that same moment, the entire world, they're all over the world. So in the entire world, New York, Madrid, France, I think Paris, Naples, Milan, Rome didn't. I don't know why. But anyway, so we have worldwide, wherever the Neapolitans are, celebration. And I'm like, if only they could all be so happy to come together and to, work on planting trees, work on, I don't know, getting something else, the water cleaned. I don't even know the absurd number, right? In a good way, but they were happy about it. Well, if you have all of those groups, the animal lovers, if you're an animal lover, you don't eat meat. No, fuck that shit. Yes, I do eat meat. I love animals. I don't have to not eat meat. You know what? Zoos are just as cruel as, I don't know. So there's all these different little groups that chime in with charges versus actually focusing on the bigger picture and then also getting interested in, for example, what a zookeeper is. I have a person, a loved one who's a zookeeper, and they will talk about they get attacked by the animal lovers who think that their job means they treat animals like shit while they care about the animals. And there's just so much behind every profession and those who care about what they do. My point was, one game winning a championship, all money spent, and we have in the meantime divisiveness on those most important arenas because people are half-assed. And they're motivated by, it ain't how hard you can hit, it's how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. Because you know what life is. It'll knock you to the ground. There ain't no rainbow and sunshines. Every time I have to hear this bullshit. Suspicious eyes. I'm brought back to my teenage years. The first cheating. I said, I ain't going to be checking your phone. I told you I'm not jealous. Your culture. That ain't mine. I ain't insecure. That's it. So this is the part of where jealousy, the Italians think that it means you love them. That's insecurity. And now they're trying to make a bunch of other awareness go on for all of that which is happening around the world. We know this. But it's not just one element. So many beautiful people out there, and so many are divisive. And the divisiveness is not something unexplainable. It's actually quite explainable because adaptive child part people, excuse me, you're confusing science and spirituality. No, I'm not. I bring them together. I'm a mystic. I'm a mentor, content creator, podcast host. No, because I'm a mystic too. I'm a Reiki practitioner and a Akashic record reader, and I do also, a tarot, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. And so anyways, this human being who I love the conversation we had, but they're interjecting, telling me that I'm confusing something because they're imprisoned by their left mode. Adaptive child part people are structurally dissociated. I got a teenager in a room who thinks they know shit more than I do. I didn't ask you what you knew or didn't know, and I'm not going to get into your face because I actually don't know everything, and that's the part I don't want to. But that's social time also, and I'm not in front of my peers who are academics. If I were, then I'd be asking very interesting questions, and they'd be talking with a lot of interest, and they'd be having a good time because that's what academics do. The good ones. The ones who are assholes, well, we can handle them because pricks, there's actual pricks who wield their mouths in ways that you'll be able to notice what they're trying to do. And in the meantime, as you get mastered of yourself, you just keep on. If you live in suspicion, always thinking everyone is out to get you, you will only do very small things in life. Trust is very important. So when you have people who are, it's going to be the visceral of anyone who's insecure and who's interacting with a sense of I'm lesser than, you will perceive it. Because as Dr. Daniel Siegel presents, we all perceive each other and more than just him because we are mammals. So again, before you can repair with another, you need to be able to repair within yourself. Thank you, Raymond Rodriguez. If you have not repaired with yourself and you're ignoring the very emotion that you get down here. So when I get, when I get a little bit of the frustration with my pet peeve of watching idiots around, okay, and them telling you that they are going to save society and the world, I got a teenager in a room, I got a spiritual bypass or savior complex, and I'm not God, and I am, and that's because I'm in the presence of a codependent human being who in this moment is coming at me with their visceral, not with their prefrontal cortex. At the same time, that's exactly why right here, it gives me good practice to say, Maria, bring in Shiva. You got Kali going on. Bring in Shiva, bring in Krishna Lila. Get yourself in the present. Allow yourself to breathe. Get that affect into check. Thank you, Terrio. And is this really necessary, 14-month-olds? Because you don't need to be here. This is So that is differentiating, allowing yourself to create a certain type of distance, but also bring fun. And that's why exploring the depths of seriousness. I don't dress up as any deity, let alone God. I will use words, though, that I can tell I embody as frequency. And Krishna Leela is once you're in that lovely ventral vagal state, having a fun time, because Shiva already came in and say, hey, you're a small little piece of energy, like all of your other brothers and sisters. There's no Lucifer, by the way, because there's no monster. Cowards are what I see. Whenever I see anybody being in their little spiteful asshole dick, and it could be a vagina, I don't give a shit. Watching a man hack about punishing questions with their children wants me to eat them alive, and I can't. I physically can't do that because I'm a 4'9" woman. But also, it's none of my business. So my kali is every child will have, thank goodness, that fire, because your body says, I don't deserve this. That. And also fight is good. Fight means you're going to run away. It means you don't think you're dead. Imagine instead you can't leave and you're hostage and your body shuts down and you got a freeze response but it's not even just freeze. I'm not going to talk about this because it'll make me cry, because that's what happens to children in environments. So when people want to dehumanize my brothers and sisters, which is why I can get frustrated, but I understand when God chimes in and says, don't suffer, don't judge human suffering. No need for me to be in my temporal junction, Zen Master. Human suffering is healable if they go to therapy. And if they don't want to, they can have fun being half-assed. People like my facade friend. So my facade friend didn't learn much from being thrown in the mud because he didn't go heal. I didn't have all the attachment trauma information, and even if I did, I wasn't going to tell him anything because none of my business. The therapists have made it very clear that we are not going to be able to get anyone to do anything with themselves. And the fancy man and lady in suit are proof of that, as are a bunch more spiritual bypassers, because they'd rather hear how to punch each other around, figure speech, and use video games and use a bunch of other entertainment and bullshit. And there's people who will give you explanations for it. And I keep on making it into a big deal when it's not a big deal. Determined. Come on in, Robert Sapolsky. Thank goodness you're out there, because sometimes I'll just think of you and say, yep, nobody has free will. So at the end of the day, at IHP, we're going to have self-agents, because I'm a self-agent. And I don't like lazy people. And I can be lazy, yes, and I can get sloppy. But I've learned how to be a grown-up about it, because I'm an imperfect perfectionist. As otherwise, I won't do anything in life. And really, it's because I found out that you can only plan 99.999999999%, but there's always that 0.001%. And I had this actual conversation with myself. And I even know that I can bet my life on a person, and that I will lose. And I've had a bet like that. And I also know that it's okay. It could happen again. You take a leap of faith when you meet people, and then you will allow yourself to be at peace with what the outcome is, because you don't take a leap of faith as an inner child who needs somebody to comfort you emotionally, mentally, or physically. You take a leap of faith because of what that heart says, okay? And that's the part of why there's a difference. With those of us who are at peace with life, what you have restored embodiment, and we use our mind wisely, and we give with gratitude and grace, and we embrace the in-between, which means only time will tell me if I have a whole self that is the one that has an open heart versus what is an orphan that presents to me that they will think they're healed, but I get to meet their comedian like my facade friend, because they have unseen child parts that come up out of the woodwork, and with their inconsistency show me years after that they are not a whole person. They're not their empowered feminine, so they don't have all their attachment wounds, mother empowered masculine, father wounds. They're not their star baby. They're not the whole self. Okay, so it's not hard in time, though. Time is the only way that you'll know, because that's exactly what people reveal to you. It's who they're wanting to be. And like I said, the ones who don't want to be their higher self, they're still my brothers and sisters. They just stay like that avoidant with her whole heart bad habits, and they grow like my facade friend, not to become all they could. But they will make sense of what they have learned and what they have become, and how they are doing awesome, and how I make a big deal out of anything and everything. And there's, the merry-go-round of I love to love, and my baby, he loves to laugh and live and learn and expand and not cast stones. And also catch a falling star and put it in your pocket, never let it fade away. I love those songs. So, with that being said, again, it will be as it always has been, just with Dharma, not karma. Our lovely planet is in that frequency, but also the smart scientists give every person out there the ability to embody the kingdom of God within them. That's called the restorative, embodied, self-aware, accountable, regulating person who gets to use their prefrontal cortex, have all their child parts. We get to meet, we get to say hi, we get to workshops, retreats together, masterclass, you name it, and one-to-one mentorship if you want it. So I look forward to you coming back to HP when our tiers will be out. We'll have more of that. In the meantime, thanks for stopping by.